Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us in this virtual happy hour session organized by Dental Monitoring. We really appreciate you taking some time of your Tuesday evening. So we promise to make this session as fun and as interactive as possible. To kick off this session, Martina, I'd like to ask you one question.
Okay.
I heard you say one time that before the pandemic, you've never done any webinars or podcasts or any type of public speaking because it used to terrify you. And now look at you. You're all over the internet. How did that happen? What inspired you?
I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. So it was a significant birthday for me a couple of years ago, and I'd never done a speech before or anything. And I had like 20 of my closest friends, and we hired a nice private room in Harrogate, and we had a lovely meal. And I prepared a speech, and my speech basically, I mean, Tracy, my amazing treatment coordinator who's here on the call, knows me very well, and she will smile and agree when I say that I kind of tell it how it is. So I don't really hold back. I'm quite an honest person. And so what I thought my speech should involve would be to go around person by person, all of my friends who obviously know me very well, and tell them what I thought of them. So I prepared this speech, and I kind of rehearsed it with my husband beforehand, and he kept going, "You can't say that, you can't say that." I was like, okay. So when it came to it, and I was ready to do the speech on the night, I had a significant amount of alcohol. And I just thought, sod it, I'm just going to do my speech. And it was brilliant. And everyone still talks about it a few years later. And it kind of made me, I really enjoyed it actually. And I thought, well, I was just being myself. And sort of getting into Invisalign and doing loads of Invisalign, I really just thought it would be something that I'm so passionate about that I'd really like to share with other people. So that's when I kind of decided that I'd like to kind of start doing some more speaking, and it's just kind of snowballed from there, really, just from writing articles and things like that. And like you say, it is massively out of my comfort zone, but I'm getting used to it. And I really enjoy it, and it's that thing where you've achieved something that you never thought you could do, and then you do it, and it's a good thing to do, but I find it quite rewarding.
That's really inspiring. Do you think you would have started without the alcohol?
We get to do a webinar without alcohol.
That's really great. So, Martina, let's kick off the session by asking some serious question about our theme tonight, which is virtual consultation, how to make them work, how to have the perfect workflow in place, how to attract new patients, because at the end of the day, this is where the journey starts, by acquiring new patients. And I know that this is an emerging trend now today in dentistry, but still, I feel like a lot of dentists, they still struggle with this, with acquiring new patients, and they still are complacent in their old ways of doing so, which is, waiting for this referral, or waiting for this patient to do some word of mouth marketing. How do you do it? How did you change the way of doing it compared to before?
When I've been doing Invisalign for 3 years, and Tracy's been on that whole journey with me, basically from the beginning. And we've done that whole journey together, so she'll have a lot to say tonight as well. But when we first started doing Invisalign, it very much was that kind of, you have to start somewhere. So you start with your nurse or your family, and then you build up your confidence, and you start asking your patients if they'll let you experiment on them, and you start to you build within your practice the people that trust you and you trust. And so you start with that, and we were doing the smile form. So the receptionist would hand out to every patient like a smile evaluation form before they had a checkup. So then they bring that in to the dentist, and it's just like a really good way to kind of spark that conversation about aesthetic dentistry. And we definitely did get some patients from that kind of, maybe didn't know that we did something like that, or didn't have the courage to ask about it. And so I think that's a really, really good way, is to start internally with your own existing patients when you're kind of starting out. But then you get to that point where you kind of reach saturation point. And if you really, really want to start pushing it, then you have to start really getting serious about your marketing and things like that, and then you're doing social media and all that's brilliant, and you start to get referrals from the people that you've done work on, and again, that's fantastic, but it's only going to get you so many cases in. And if you want to get really, really serious, then you do have to start doing paid advertising. So I had done quite a cool Facebook ads online course a few years ago, and so I learned how to run my own Facebook ads. So I thought, well, I'll start with that. And I think, when you first start doing Invisalign, they ask you to do open days and things like that. So I think we ran an open day, Tracy, didn't we? It was quite early on. And I just ran like my own little Facebook ad for it. And we got, I don't know, we did one day, didn't we? And I think we got, maybe we got like 5 or 6 cases from it, but that was great. And so you slowly start to build. So I ran my own Facebook ads for quite a long time. And then, now we're getting really, really serious, and we start using an agency to run our Facebook ads and run our Google ads. And we are seeing it get more and more and more to the point where we're kind of, since lockdown, we're averaging about 20 a month. It's crackers. So, but you have to put the effort in, and it's the momentum, isn't it, Tracy? It's like that, like having a big heavy wheel, and you start to push it, and it's really heavy to start with, and then you give it a little bit more of a push, and it starts to roll a bit faster. And as the momentum gets going, suddenly it whooshes off, and you're like trying to catch up with it, and you don't know what's happening, and it's all a bit crackers. And that's what's happening. But it takes a long time, it takes a lot of hard work. You have to have your team on board. You have to have your systems in place. There's no point paid advertising if you haven't got all that in place, because you're just wasting your money. And really, Tracy will agree with me that, it's so easy to advertise, but what the hard bit is having your team, all your ducks in a row, your team aligned with you, having the same vision, because what you're doing is you're making a lot of changes within your practice, and that is hard for some people, and not everyone's going to be in the same mindset, and not everyone's going to see that vision, and that is absolutely the hardest hurdle to overcome.
Completely agree with you. I think it's the same thing for you when it comes to speaking, right? The first time was hard, and now you cannot get enough of it. So we have an interesting question from Jane. She's asking, Martina, have you written a proper marketing strategy? Does Tracy work with you, Martina? For this, I'll let Tracy, and I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah. Do you want to go across first, Martina, there?
Yeah. So the first question is, do you have a proper marketing strategy in place? And then maybe you can talk about your relationship with Tracy and how you two work together.
It's kind of like a bit of a numbers game. So we would have a target. So for this year, we had a target of Invisalign cases that we wanted to achieve. And then you work back from that target. So, let's say, for example, you want to get 100 cases. Okay. So you know how many cases that you want to get a month. Okay. And then you know what your TCO's conversion rate is. So you know how many patients that TCO needs to see every month. Okay. And then you work back from that, and you know how many leads you need to get. So what's your conversion rate from your lead to your TCO? So you're working back from that, how many leads do we need to get in every month? So when we have a marketing strategy, firstly, like, marketing is such a huge subject, isn't it? It's not just one thing. But what we know is that if we spend so much money, we know we'll get this many leads, we know that many will convert to Tracy, and then we know that many will convert to me. And then, so that's how we kind of work it out. And then obviously we now getting more and more from referrals, from social media, and from things like that, word of mouth. So it's all about looking at the whole picture. But yeah, that's how we structure our kind of advertising spend.
Yeah.
Completely agree with you. And I think today there are still a lot of people who struggle with this. So they start by implementing marketing strategies, and it's all good. But then the hard part, I think, is the tracking system. to have it in place. So a lot of practitioners that I know still do what we call call tracking, right, to manage new leads. And it's a concept that is so labor intensive. They have to answer all patient calls, write down their names, follow up later to see if they actually became patients, then look at the spreadsheets, calculate the production value, and so on and so on. But what you have in place is just, a good system in place that work. So Jane actually bounced back on that question, and she said, that's a great sales strategy, but when you're talking about a marketing strategy, you have like a SWOT in place, like you take into consideration the personas, the competitor information, et cetera, et cetera. So I know you do this targeted, advertising. You think about your brand awareness. If you can tell us more about this.
About SWOT personas.
Yeah. So if before you market, before you put in place. Sorry.
What do you mean personas?
So this is what Jane wrote. So I think what she means by that is that when you want to implement a marketing strategy, do you take into consideration who do you want to market for? What is your competition doing? And so on.
Yeah. I have quite, I don't know, my view on competition is maybe controversial in that I don't really consider the competition, and maybe a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but it works for me. In that I work for us to be the best that we can be. Okay, we price our treatments what we feel the value of that treatment is, and we're probably the higher end. And competition, I think we're fortunate in that we're not all packed into a city centre. We're in Yorkshire. There is competition around, but to me, if we work at being the best that we can be and absolutely nailing it, then to me, what the competition is doing is irrelevant as long as we're hitting our targets and being the best that we can achieve. What was the other question in line with our business plan? Maybe let's get Jane on.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to do. So, Jane, I'm gonna mute you. If you choose, I'm gonna turn you into a panelist actually. Then you can choose to unmute yourself and turn on your video, and maybe let's get the conversation going.
Oh, personas is a best practice. Who's your target? Oh, target market, and how you speak to them, how and where. So for us, she's coming on now. Hi, Jane.
Hello, Jane. Okay, maybe she rather not do it right now.
Yeah. So first, I would say our target market is you're looking between kind of, obviously we get a huge age range. I mean, we've had a 62-year-old, starting Invisalign today. But if we're targeting paid marketing, we will target sort of between about 18 and 45, and we tend to go more to females, and obviously within a certain radius of the practice.
So now that you put your marketing strategy in place, you have a system in place to be able to track down these leads, and at the end of the day, you're able to measure your ROI, which lets you know that if you're paying too much or too little for your marketing. Now, let's talk about the emotional side. How do you build rapport with those leads? How do you qualify them?
I'm going to pass that on to Tracy.
Building rapport for me it's very, very natural. And I think that's because I'm such a laid back person, really. So I like to make sure that I kind of come down to the patient's level. I always make comments, very simple comments, such as, you look fantastic, your outfit's really nice. Just something that's very simple that breaks the ice, really. I always take time out to have a little chit chat about their working situation. And I think that's quite easy to do right now as well with what's happening with the current situation. So it'll be things like, oh, how have you been spending lockdown? How's that all working out? It's a very easy question to ask right now. And that kind of starts a little conversation there. And then they might say, oh, I'm spending time with my kids. And there you go then. There's a conversation there about children coming up. So that's all very, very straightforward. But the way I like to work is quite laid back and chilled. Of course, whilst being as professional as I can be, but it's all about building rapport, and that's what's really important for me to do. And I do think it comes quite natural, to be honest with you. So that's the rapport building. Qualifying. Now, Jess, our little trooper, bless her, is the backbone of my job, and she's already kind of qualified these patients before she put them in with me, which is a massive help. So to some degree, they have been qualified already. And then it's kind of down to me really to make sure, that they are kind of suitable for treatment and every base has been covered really. And that again is just by asking lots of questions, to make sure before they go to see Martina that we're not wasting anybody's time really. That's the idea there, to make sure that they're qualified before we put them in. Yeah.
We've got some friends of mine joined. We've got Nin and Catherine. And
yes, hi guys.
Canny, talking about competition. It's probably, it's the absolute queen of Invisalign for Yorkshire. She's a specialist orthodontist. So I hope she liked what I was saying, that I don't really care what my competition's doing.
I'm here now. No,
hello there, welcome.
There you are, I swear.
We've had discussions about this before, and I'm exactly like you. I really don't pay much attention to what anybody else is doing, because then you get into that price war and drive yourself to the bottom. And I just think it's all about being the best you are, putting your prices at the level. If people don't want to come, and let them go. I mean, I think there's enough work for everybody if you do and you provide a good service, and that's the way you've just got to look at it, is stop looking at what others are doing and just do what you want to do. I mean, personally, I'm just amazed, listen to your marketing strategies, because I don't really have one. I'm literally so busy, I don't have time to actually work one out. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's a case of, just trying to provide the best service, and yeah, as you say, do what you think's right.
Exactly. And I think Nin had a really good comment on this. He said, most practices, they think that it's their marketing that needs fixing, or it's the marketing that's not performing well. Well, it's not. It's never the marketing, because like Martina said, marketing is relatively simple. It's usually the systems and the process that you need to have in place. And that's what Martina and her team have done so well. Superb team. That's a message from Nin.
Thank you, Nin. Are you going to come on, Nin, and show yourself?
So we had alcohol. No one was eating food, so that's becoming even more interesting.
Sorry guys, I'm having my dinner and it's really good listening to you guys. So
enjoy it.
We have chips, chicken Kiev and some salad.
Nice.
And I'm not going to tell you what's in there, but I'm going to go mute because I've got to finish this.
Sure, go ahead. So Nina, now that we talked a bit about the marketing, the ROI process that you have in place, can you tell us more about the whole workflow that you have in place? How, because I know you did this so well, how you have reinvented the whole patient of the journey of the patient. Can you go through this with us a little bit?
Okay. So firstly, what we have is we use a CRM called Dengbo. So it's a way of monitoring and nurturing and tracking your leads. So what you were talking about earlier about having a million different spreadsheets and losing your leads between the facts and all this, it's a really, really, really good way of tracking our leads. So wherever our leads come from, so they might come from social media, or they might come from a phone call to the practice, or they might come in through paid marketing, it feeds into Dengbo. And then so every lead that comes in is then able to track it. So for example, the lead might come in, Jess, who's our lead ninja, will then ring the lead. If she can't get through to the lead, then she'll send a WhatsApp message to them with a link to SmileMate, which we'll come on to in a minute. And then she'll put a little reminder in Dengbo to try them again the next day. If she gets through to the lead, obviously then her job is to build rapport, is to qualify the lead. So she'll ask qualifying questions such as like age and where they live and have they had braces before, what is their budget and things like that. And then what she'll do is she'll offer to book them in for either virtual or face-to-face consultation. She'll take a £20 non-refundable deposit for that. And a £20 refundable deposit for that, whether it's virtual or face-to-face. And then what she'll do is she'll ask them to upload photos of their teeth onto SmileMate. And so she'll send them a little link via text message to SmileMate. And we use SmileMate now for both our face-to-face and our virtual consultations, because it's actually a really good way for me to communicate with my TCO Tracy as to that patient's suitability. Another really good thing at this point about seeing those photos, which Catherine will appreciate, is that if they aren't suitable for treatment by a general dentist, then at that point straight away I can say, no, you need to see a specialist, and actually I do refer over to Catherine and I give Catherine's number. So straight away that patient hasn't even had to come in the practice, hasn't wasted any time before I know straight away they're not suitable for treatment with me. And so
that's beautiful. So you kind of have a referral system through the SmileMate platform.
So what I would normally do is just give them the orthodontic practice details, Catherine's practice, specialist practice.
I mean, let's suppose I'm the patient and I'm scanning for the first time, and then you say, okay, this case is not for me. I'd rather refer to a specialist. Mm-hmm. Then that's how you share the report with Dr. Catherine.
No, I don't. I just pass on Catherine's details to the patient and leave them to contact her.
Okay.
She only sells me the really difficult ones, though.
She's keeping the easy money for her.
I don't think she likes my referrals.
Send me some easy cases.
Yeah, I'm always like, yeah, I've got a real good one for you here, Catherine. Yeah, call the ambulance.
She's getting.
Catherine, are you doing the same? Are you sending the easy one cases to Martina?
Catherine, you're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute, Catherine.
I said I need some easy cases to keep my sanity in my job.
I don't think I get any easy cases, to be honest. They're really difficult. So anyway, so to that point of booking the consultations, and then so they'll send in the photographs, then I'll review the photographs, I'll send them their free report, and then what I do is I write a little note within that patient's notes on SmileMate to Tracy, and it will say it's a light or a full, how long it's going to take, whether they might need bonding, whether, you know, options for teeth replacement and things like that. So she's got a little idea around giving that patient some information on the consultation, and that's why it works really well for the face-to-face consultations as well.
Totally. We had a question from them. You're still eating, so I'm going to read it out for you. Do you refer the oral report generated by SmileMate?
Refer it to who?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's quite clear.
The specialist.
Sorry, the question was, do you read and refer to the oral report generated by SmileMate? So when you're speaking to the patient, so for example, if Tracy was speaking to the patient, would she refer to the oral note saying, hey, you've got some perio possible or anything like this? Because I know that the dentist would get the report and then they add a note, which is a nice touch. But then do we use that? Now, I've got to be honest, of the clients I work with, generally we don't, because you know, the real value for me in the SmileMate is getting the photographs and getting the patient's engagement. That's the real value for me in SmileMate. But I just wondered, from a clinical point of view, the oral report that's generated, are you using that, Martina, or does Tracy use that, or don't you refer to it at all?
I don't think, in my opinion, I'd be interested what other clinicians think, that we should be using that clinical report to talk to the patient about it when we've not seen them face to face. So it's all very well if it says poor oral hygiene and caries and needs teeth whitening and all that, but in the email that goes along with that, we always say that it all needs to be verified with a clinical examination. And I wouldn't feel comfortable with my TCO saying you've got caries, giving a patient a diagnosis at that point. I don't think you should be doing that. I think you should, that's for the dentist.
Sure. And I wondered if it could be used in any way to build rapport or to break ice if you have a difficult patient. I just wondered, I mean, in my experience, it's a no, but I just wondered if maybe you guys use that in any way.
For me, it's any note that Martina's kind of put down, and she's assessed everything, of course, clinically, and then added any relevant notes for me in my role to be able to pass on to the patient then. Obviously, that's all broken down and made more simple, so I can explain it across to the patient there, but nothing clinical, of course. It'll just be, you know, we might notice needs some composite bonding. There might be a little bit of tartar that's built up, and we'll need to explain we need to scale and polish, but nothing really on a clinical aspect, really. Yeah.
Can I just mention that I do use my slide, my PCO will go on and read what I've sent to the patient. I then put in their clinical note like that, just a very simple, suitable for question mark, Invisalign light or whatever, rough estimate of prices. And if they want to get more definitive, then they come in for a thing. So it's a really good way of kind of engaging them and getting them in without giving. I give a kind of overview, but not go into too many specifics.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We give a price range, Catherine.
Yeah.
So we don't let on yet. We don't let on to the patient if they're a light or a full yet.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's Tracy's job in the consultation. Because I think sometimes if you give that price away before you've had the chance to build rapport, if they're just price shopping, that's them off.
Yeah, and we've noticed that this is a massive thing at the moment, actually, because, you know, I've spoken to patients before and they've been put off by the price before they've met any of us. They know anything about how we work. We've not built a relationship with those patients, and they've literally been put off just by the price. So we think it's a great idea to kind of give them an idea of cost when they come in. You know, we've told them about us. I've explained about Martina and her background and things. They've seen lots of before and after pictures. We've built that relationship with them. They love what we do. They love us as people. They've seen the smile, the simulated outcome as well of how things could look, and they're kind of sold already by that point, which is amazing.
One of the great things about SmileMate, if anyone listening hasn't done it yet, I urge everyone to do it, because the hardest trick with SmileMate is actually getting the photographs. And if you get a patient that actually submits a SmileMate, that's a really invested patient, because to get those 5 pictures, it's not easy. and I've learned a little trick, if you want me to share it, which is actually, if you talk to the patient saying, I'm going to send you a link for SmileMate, and here's a little tip, take a video of the pictures and then take screenshots of the video where you want the pictures. That's easier than actually trying to hold your cheeks away. So that's a little trick, and it helps with breaking ice. So if you haven't tried SmileMate, everyone should know how it feels like, because that's very difficult.
And tell them to bite together.
Oh, no.
Cannot tell you because you're not biting together.
I've spoken to so many patients that have said they've had such a laugh taking the pictures with family members. So that's a good icebreaker as well, actually. That's really fun.
Today, I had one today. You'll laugh, laughing. Honestly. And the SmileMate folks come in, and on her SmileMate, because we ask a few questions for when they submit it, she said, oh, I've just had Invisalign with another dentist, and I'm really happy, and I just want a little bit of composite bonding. And I sent Tracy this message. I said, I don't know who's done this Invisalign, but she's got a massive open bite at the front, and it looks a complete mess. And I said, it's awful. So I don't think composite bonding's the answer. And then when she came in today, she didn't at all. And I was completely, you know, sidelined by this. I honestly thought she had a massive anterior open bite, and she didn't actually. But so it just shows you, like, you can't always rely on their photos.
And again, that's why in the report and things as well, and obviously in my role, it's all kind of backed up with, this needs to be clinically assessed, and that's going to be backed up with that. So anything that's said initially from them photographs is an idea of, but it needs to be assessed clinically, really, to determine the exact price and outcome of time and things.
Can I just ask you two girls a very simple question? And my biggest dilemma is, how can you not be working 7 days a week?
Who knows?
And I don't, my kids, I'm looking at Martina, has got 2 kids, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got dental monitoring, I've got SmileMate, I've got Invisalign clean checks, I've got patients to do, I have to write up notes. So that's why I joined tonight, is tell me, girls, what's the top? Why am I still working 7 days a week?
Martina never stops working. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
I switch off a little bit.
She's got 2 children. At least that gives her a bit of distraction. So
Yes.
it is all very good, but you have to keep them in and you have to keep checking it and you have to keep doing it. And I'm like, I thought, well, I'm disappointed. That's all I wanted to learn from tonight, was how not to work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
It's what you do.
If that's helpful, I can chip in there.
Go on, Jane.
It's my kind of thing. It's looking at the structure of your business. Catherine, have you got your own practice?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's looking at the structure of what you have. A lot of people will carry on the same structure of their business for many years. And yet when somebody leaves or there's a change like that, that is the perfect platform for when you can actually decide, well, actually, is the structure that we've got right for us, or do we change it now, rather than, oh, we'll just replace that person because somebody's left. Do you see what I mean? And you shouldn't ever hello? I don't know what happened there. I didn't do anything.
Someone shared the screen.
Consent for SmileMate here. I don't know if somebody could do that. That's the time to look at the structure of your business and to see what is actually required. Are the job descriptions right? It's a whole review. It's a whole strategic thinking, which is where I came from with regard to my question earlier, and I missed a little bit, I'm sorry, which was about a marketing strategy. And somebody said, oh, marketing is very simple. Well, it took me quite a long time to do my Chartered Institute of Marketing in digital marketing strategy. So I didn't think it was simple, to be quite honest. It's a little bit like a treatment plan. If you miss out a stage in your treatment planning, and then you could have a possibility where you've missed something, you could put somebody at risk or whatever, all the things that go with treatment planning. When I write a marketing strategy, it's exactly the same thing. My premise, my remit would be to make sure that I'm executing best practice and making sure that I've grabbed every opportunity that is available for my client. And so I follow a format, but obviously it's all bespoke because all practices are different. And then you can have that, and it's part of your organizational development plan. And so all your team would then be accountable for their role, and you'll be able to make sure they're performing. If you can tell me that all your team are performing to their potential, I would be very surprised. So that's what I would say. And then this is linked to your recruitment and your selection process. It's linked to your induction. It's linked to your systems. Everything is linked. So I would say very respectfully to whoever said that marketing is simple. It might be simple, but it's not easy. Because if it was easy, we'd all be millionaires.
Oh no, I think I did, very much look at, and I do actually do virtual sessions now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 virtual clinics, and the clinics are doing all my little stuff. It's still not enough. Still working Saturdays and I'm still working Sundays.
And
I think I do actually know I'll probably end up, because of all the restrictions and the way that every one of my staff members, we are still doing that one person in, one person out. As a team member, every day has to be that great person. And I've lost, and because of that, everybody's working 110%. But whilst I'm just going to have to probably take more staff on.
Yes, as long as it's the right staff, as long as they've got the right skill set. I often find that people will put nurses into sales roles, and if you look at the skill sets of a nurse, occasionally it will work, but it's very occasionally. I've worked with 1,000 practices, and I can probably name 5 nurses that are good at selling. So this sort of traditional model where, oh, I'll get a nurse because then it'll be great because she can do that if there's something else. And it's not the way. If you look at the practices who are really successful, they get the right people doing the right job and they pay them well. That's my little contribution for tonight.
Like Tracy, like my TCO.
I think yeah. I'm delegating huge amounts now. So I've got a dentist that I have taken on who helps me, and she does all my attachments and IPR, but she's now fully booked for the next 5 weeks. And so now I'm, it's like you kind of reach capacity, but I just don't do general dentistry anymore. So I send a lot of my fillings and things to the therapist. So I delegate.
Delegate's the only way to scale up. But you can only delegate if you can trust and let go.
Yeah,
you've got to have the systems, you've got to have the right people.
Absolutely.
And all the training and ongoing training, but you can't let go if you can't, and that's why you will always be in 7 days a week.
Oh, I've learned to let go, but I'm still working.
Then give me a call. And wasn't here to pitch. I'm here to learn, Martina, because I'm thinking everybody's got something to. And I'm dealing with the practice at the moment, and there are definitely some holes in the follow-up. There's definitely some issues. They're getting a lot of fail to attends and so on. So I'm, if anybody's got any tips about that.
There's always holes. There's always things you can improve, and it's constant. Me and Tracy and our little Invisalign team within my general practice is constantly tweaking every week. And we're constantly feeding back to each other what works, what doesn't work, and then you suddenly become successful, because you sort of reach that breaking point where everything starts to click into place really well.
I think that's because you've got a robust communication policy there, because most practices don't, and they don't have the time.
They literally sit me down, they sabotage my diary, and they block out segments so that they can talk to me, because otherwise they know they can't get hold of me, don't you? They're literally need to talk to. So it's them. They're brilliant. They make me sit down and talk.
I stick in a whole communication policy for a practice for the whole year, so that they know they have got communication, so that their team have got a platform to be able to be heard.
We've got different levels of communication. So every day we'll have our daily huddle. Then every week we'll have a management meeting, a shorter one, a half an hour one. Then once a month we'll have a longer management meeting. Then we have our staff meetings, and then Tracy knows that the only way to communicate with me is via WhatsApp.
Upstairs in the same building.
Yeah, it's finding your way of communicating, isn't it?
Totally, yeah, totally. So do you have some KPIs set, Martina?
Yes, we do. So Tracy's very good. So it's obviously really important, as Ryan was saying earlier, about tracking everything. So you can only know what's working and what's not working if you're tracking everything. So we have
as long as they put what they're doing into the tracking, you do get teams that go, oh yeah, I called them. Cheek.
I do a report every day. Every day they send me a little report onto our little WhatsApp group. So I can see every day what's happening with the leads, what's happening with the conversions. So, and it's great because we can all celebrate it together. And I know if what do we call her? Lead Ninja. I know if Lead Ninja's had a good day because she puts a little smiley face, so I don't even need to look at the numbers. And if she doesn't put an emoji, I know she's had a crap day.
That's great. I love it.
By the way, Martina, tell us more about her work. I'm curious to know more about what Lead Ninja does exactly.
Lead Ninja?
Yeah.
I don't know if she was going to come on. Lead Ninja is our dedicated, full-time lady, and she deals with all our leads, and she has her own room away from reception. I mean, she deals with reception calls as well, but we made a concerted effort to take.
Is this her Jess telling us hi? Is she Jess Dickinson?
Ninja here. Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Yay.
I'm gonna promote her to panelist
You need to.
and let her. Hi, lead ninja.
Yeah.
You may not want to come on, Martina.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah.
So she deals with the Dengro. She follows up the lead. She's got the time and the privacy to deal with every single lead, and that's why
I think that's terribly important,
Yeah,
because
Absolutely.
trying to deal with that at a front desk is a nightmare.
you
And
can
it's so
do
distracting.
that, and it was horrendous for her. You've got a queue of patients. You've got, you've got people waiting on the phone, and someone wants to talk to you for half an hour. You can't do it.
And that's what we wanted, didn't it? We wanted a person that was dedicated to take time with these patients as new leads. And ultimately, that is what Jess's role is to take that initial call and take half an hour if that patient needs that time. So they've got lots of questions, yeah. But what she's doing is making sure that patient's qualified before they get in to see me, which is not wasting my time then. Massive asset to the business, absolutely. She's incredible. She really is.
There she is.
Hello, I've washed my hair. I wasn't expecting to be live tonight.
I wasn't expecting to be live tonight either. Oh dear me.
So yeah, please excuse the hair.
It's a practice, and she's non-dental. Tell us about yourself, Jess.
Oh gosh, what do you want to know? So I came to the practice in January, having known absolutely nothing about dentistry in general. I think it was just a case of like, what is a crown and all of these things that I had to learn, but I knew that it was something that I could really put my all into, and I've really enjoyed learning everything about Invisalign and sort of getting involved in that side of things with the practice as well. It's been a brilliant experience, and it's been very like, I don't know, it's just been crazy from obviously starting in January, and then we went into lockdown in March, and then we came back in June, and we've just hit the ground running. It's been brilliant.
So do you think that that this is going to carry on, this slight boom now that we have?
I think it will. Well, I think a lot of people, for example, they might have been going on a holiday this year, and then now that's been cancelled, so they've got maybe that little bit more disposable income that they can think, oh, I've been wanting to treat myself, and I might just splash out and do this, and I've seen your advert. And I think a lot of people I've been speaking to have sort of said that they hadn't really thought about it, and then they've said, well, actually now I've got the more time to discuss it. And obviously I think a lot when we were doing the virtual consultations, that's worked in a lot better for people that maybe have been working from home and can do that then in their lunch hour, so it's more convenient for them.
Would you take a patient who's booked in for a free video consultation? I might have missed something, so I apologize if I'm repeating. Would you take somebody from a free video consultation straight into an in-person paid consultation?
Yes, we could do. Yes, it just depends on obviously whether the patient is feeling that they would like to do that, really. A lot of the time I've noticed the conversions tend to want to come see us in practice, just because if you mention, obviously we can do an outcome simulator, they've got that option there then to see what it could look like, and I think that's more of an incentive for people to come in. However, if we've done obviously the SmileMate photos, and we can give them that report, and then Tracy is able to do the video consult with them, then hopefully they feel comfortable enough that they'd like to come see us in person. And so I'm going to say the B word now, if that's all right. So Brexit with a no deal. Oh,
I can't turn it off. Yeah, you can. You turn volume down, right, Paul.
Let's face it, Brexit is the bastard word. It is, and it's really bastard. So, have you got a plan B?
So I put this on for you as well as me. Yeah, really, from there, where you pick up your fucking chin. Give up.
Can't hear a thing. Sorry.
I'm not sure what's happening.
Golly gosh, I think we just have to time.
I can't hear you. Caused a riot here. Can't hear a thing.
It sounds like, I don't know if you can hear me, but it sounds like Sharon may have a microphone on and there's some background noise. Just wanted to add to what Jess was saying about, I think, sorry, Jane, your question around this boom. I've seen across clients I work with and the industry I work in, it's not just dentistry, it's anything that's going to be of around your personal your appearance. So facial aesthetics is booming, hair transplants booming. Anything to do with where normally people might be shy and thinking, I don't want to get my hair transplant because I've got to go to work like that. Whereas now everyone's from home, and this is why I think not just Invisalign, all types of braces.
What's ad ROI? Is that your business?
Yes.
In the corner.
Yeah, that's one of the. Yeah, I've got a couple of businesses, and that's one of them.
What's that?
So ad ROI is advertising return on investment. That's what it's meant to be.
Yeah, I gathered that. But what kind of advertising?
Oh no, it depends what the client wants. So
okay.
I was just jumping on what you were mentioning about this boom, and I'm just saying that there's a real surge in anything around personal appearance, where you might. Of
course, that's now. I'm talking about an economic turndown.
Okay, that's where I stopped talking. Because we don't know. Look, right now we're dealing with it. We're being reactive. No one knew this was going to happen in March, but look what's happened to our industry. And I think, a lot of people are doing well. And there's COVID is a very sad thing that's going on regarding the deaths and the illnesses, but there's always an opportunity. And over the last 10 years, it's difficult.
Which is why you have a marketing strategy, so you get your plan B in.
Absolutely. But it's difficult to predict what's going on because no one knew it would have this impact on Brexit, and that's now been delayed. So
it's not delayed.
Well, Jane, you'll have to give us a marketing strategy webinar, won't you?
Yeah, it sounds like Jane's got a plan and she wants to share it with us.
Not at all. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I just wanted to say then that it's all about tweaking the systems and things as we go along the way. I think Martina and I are really good at that, aren't we? We're just kind of, going along, doing the best we can. Things change every day. Work on it, keep pushing, and basically change things as they need to be changed. And yeah, happy days. It's working really well for us at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Tracy, it's great to see you after so long as well. I've known Martina and Tracy a couple of years, I guess, and it's really refreshing. And this is, again, part of the success. It is the attitude of not just the leader, the principal and the lead clinician, but also the team. You've got such a, WhatsApp chats is one thing. There's Slack. There's so many different platforms you can use, but it is about communicating. Like James
it's about massively people and the passion that they have for their role. 100%.
Yeah, and also being able to, you're dynamic. You've got one thing about your team is you're very dynamic and you will adapt. And we all know that the one who adapts, that they survive.
Well, I've talked to you about this before, Nin. I'm a little bit of a bugger when it comes to change. I don't particularly like it, although I do kind of, get it and I understand why we need to do that. And I'm getting better. But yeah, massively, we need to keep on changing things all of the time. Times are changing now as well, so things need to change, don't they? And we're up against these challenges now in life generally. But yeah, you've got to have the passion, you've got to have the right people underneath that management structure as well, just to get you where you need to be. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, but Tracy, if you look at where you were to where you are now, there's been massive change in you. Even, to be honest, even your persona, the way you look, and creating that in Instagram. I think you've got it as TCO now as well, Invisalign TCO, which is brilliant. And that's, the little tools that you can use, again, are free, but we need your, it's you that kind of stepped up to the plate. So well done you.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's about, I think, is getting involved in things as well and really making yourself stand out. And I know there was a question earlier that asked why does a patient choose that practice in particular? And it's all about, how you portray yourself, showing people lots of before and afters, but all about what your team's achieved as well, and how you're going to be well looked after moving forward. Because it's not just about taking somebody's money and changing the smile; it's massively about relationship building, and that's what we're about. Yeah.
So that's a good question for both of you, maybe Martina and Tracy, because we talked a lot about marketing and everything, but at the end of the day, everyone is trying to do it. Everyone is trying to differentiate. So the one thing that matters the most is your USP, you know, your unique selling proposition. And that's what, you know, makes you win the patient at the end of the day. So what do you both consider is a unique USP?
I'll let you go first, Tracy.
Okay, lots of my consultation with patients is banging on about how fantastic this lady is here. Yeah, but I also have to, you know, kind of point out that, you know, I'm the only person in Yorkshire as well, the only TCO that has an advanced diploma in Invisalign, actually. So I try and sneak that bit in, but it's a little bit, it don't feel very good when you're talking about yourself a lot, actually. But yeah, I have to get that in.
I was trying to say, you know, and when you're talking to a patient and you're trying to sell him the treatment, you're trying to sell him the practice.
Yeah.
How do you make him feel that, you know, your practice is really special compared to the one next door?
Yeah. Okay, so yes, very much about the fact that, you know, we've won lots of awards, as you mentioned there early on. For patient care, best team. I always tell people about that. I think the fact that Martina as well really portrays herself well on Instagram and things as well is what lots of patients see. It's massively about word of mouth as well. And I always spend time telling patients about this, but yeah, it's kind of all about the awards that we've won, how we've got to where we are now, and the testimonials that we receive from patients that have had treatment as well. It really, really helps. Yeah, I think that's what it's about, really.
Beautiful. What about you, Martina?
I think for me, yes, you can have awards. Yes, you can have qualifications, this, that, and the other, and it's great, and it looks really good on paper. And you can show all your before and after photographs, and they can see evidence of your work, and that's fantastic. But until they meet you, until they come to your practice, until they meet you as a person, for me, I think that's my USP. So I think I'm literally so silly passionate about what I do. Patients laugh at me, or my staff laugh at me, because I just get excited every single patient that walks through my door, and I get excited about the outcome. I get excited because I know they're going to cry when they're finished. And you know, I'm getting emotional now talking about it because I genuinely care. You know, I will give patients my phone number if I feel it's necessary, and they've got a toothache or they're worried about something, and they contact me on Instagram a lot, and I'll message them back, and it's about that personal touch. And I think they can see that. And I think also as you grow with experience and as you grow with your qualifications, that comes across as a confidence that maybe a lot of general practitioners that do Invisalign, who don't do a lot of Invisalign, that will never come across for them, because I know I will get them the result they want, and I know that, and that comes across. And I think, yes, Jess does her bit, sells the USPs. Yes, Tracy does her bit. But do you know what was really interesting about Jess, my lead ninja, was she was doing really well, and you know, before lockdown and everything, but she wasn't quite on fire. Jess would agree, she wasn't quite on fire with the conversions, and she was doing well. And then during lockdown, me and Tracy, we said we're going to spend a bit of time with Jess, and Jess thought she was selling Invisalign, and I said, Jess, you're not selling Invisalign at all.
You're selling an experience.
But you're selling how that patient is going to feel at the end of that treatment. And Jess, you don't see that, but I do, because they cry every time, and I love it. And if they don't cry, I get really annoyed. So what you're selling is the practice, you're selling the people, you're selling how they're going to feel about themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's easy for me. It's so easy because I see it every single day. And when you saw the penny drop in Jess, she was like, all right. I said, no, it's not about the Invisalign. It's what can the Invisalign do for that patient? And suddenly she was just on fire. She's been on fire ever since, because I think she suddenly got that change in mindset, that she wasn't trying to sell a product or a thing. She was helping that patient genuinely achieve something that they wanted to achieve a confidence, change people's lives. And that's what we do. So That's me.
Perfectly said. I'm just curious for the other participants in here. Do you have anything to add to what Martina and Tracy said?
Yeah, I've got something to add. I think, and Tracy, you're right. It is very difficult speaking about yourself because it can come across braggy. So it's uncomfortable. But I think with these, and these guys are a very good example of this, is you've got to be seen to be doing everything, and you have to be doing everything. So it starts with website, make sure that's working. Your marketing, obviously, that needs to be working. You've got to be in the space, which is Instagram and Facebook. Martina's very active on not only Instagram, Facebook, but LinkedIn. Not many dental practices will do that, but it's all these little things that they all start to add up. And then you've got to have SmileMate. Can a practice sell Invisalign without SmileMate? Well, yes. Well, is it easy with SmileMate? Yes. And then you've got Itero. Can a practice sell Invisalign with Itero? Yes. But is it easier with Itero? Yes. And then there's dental monitoring. And then there's having that process, having Jess, dedicated room where you can have that conversation, and then coming in to see Tracy, and I've got that dedicated room. It's everything. And a bit like what Jane said, it's if you miss one piece out, then you don't know why it's not working. Or if you find that piece and it fits, it just accelerates the momentum. But you've got to be doing everything. And a practice that isn't doing everything, will forever think, well, why are we not getting those cases, or why are we not winning those patients? Because patients, I feel, are always looking for a way to doubt you, and you've got to do everything right. You can't give a patient any reason to doubt you. So it's everything.
Yeah, I really like what you said, and I just want to add one thing to it. When we talk about SmileMate dental monitoring, vision, we talk about them as they are three different products, but it reminds me kind of the 2007 Steve Jobs speech when he was introducing the iPhone to the market for the first time, and he said, iPod, iPhone, internet communication tool. Then he repeated 3 times. He said, I'm not talking about 3 different products. I'm talking about one product. And it's the same thing with our products. We're giving them a virtual practice experience and not just 3 different products. Dan is smiling. You like it, right?
Yeah, but Ryan and I think Dan with dental monitoring, yeah?
Hi, Nin. Yeah, I'm Dan. I'm working up in the north with dental monitoring. So nice to meet you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Jane. Hi, everybody else that I've already met. I really like what Martina said earlier, actually. And I'm from a sales background. I have been my whole life. Even though I was a cardiac physiologist, you're still selling certain treatments to people as you go through things in the past. I think no one ever really remembers what you say to them. What they always remember is how you made them feel and how they feel themselves. And I think that is the beautiful thing. That's really the sweet spot that everyone really needs to get to at some point, isn't it? Is as soon as someone's going to feel a certain way and know that they'll feel it, they'll make that decision, and then the sell's easy. So it's really nice to hear that as well. So anyway, that's my little bit.
I agree, Dan. Beautifully said.
And it's getting all the team involved and getting all the teams. So today we did like a trial smile, didn't we, Tracy, for someone? And I literally, this woman, she was crying her eyes out. It's on my Instagram, actually. And I got everyone in. I was like, Tracy, come and have a look. Jess, I should have got you in. I've got another person. And it's about getting your team involved and seeing these patients' reactions. Tracy doesn't get to see that all the time. And Jess doesn't get to see that all the time. And when they see what you're doing for patients, it's not just about the before and after pictures. It's about the way that you make that person feel about themselves.
Yeah. Tracy and Martina, do you recall one particular patient was, particularly hard to convince or to sell the treatment to?
Hard.
Or maybe surprising in a way.
I've got the classic guy. Okay, Martina, you'll laugh at this one. This chap that seemed very, very difficult from my point of view to convert, although he's Martina's best friend now. He was just so tricky, always busy, never had time for a consultation. We eventually did a virtual consultation over a car bonnet that he was working on. And I just thought, I've not got time
for
for
what?
this.
Sorry?
over his car. So he was working on his car whilst he had his phone here working on his car. And I was like, I've not got time for this person. Like, if you've not got the time for me, what are we doing here? So difficult. I thought such a difficult character. And I've just said to Martina, I said, you know what? I'm going to give you the heads up. This guy's really hard work. Couldn't be bothered with a consultation. I really don't think he listened actually to the whole thing. And I thought, there's no way Maggie's going to go ahead. And he contacted, booked in, which surprised me. Came to see Martina, and she was like, he's an absolute babe. She says, I know exactly how to deal with this guy. Converted like that. And, you know, looking at dental monitoring, is the most compliant patient that I think I've ever known. Wow. Such a shock. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, Martina.
Yeah.
And she said, go ahead.
Well, I just think it's interesting in that mine and Tracy's personalities are obviously quite different. But he was this very deep personality, as in very to the point. He'd already made his mind up. He didn't want to know any of the details, whereas Tracy's job is very much about building rapport, having a chit chat, going through all the different parts of the Invisalign journey.
And he didn't have time because he'd already made his mind up, I think.
And that is me, because I'd be like, just where do I sign, right? And when he came in to see me, I spotted him a mile off. He was exactly the same as me. And he said, and he'd done his research to the nth degree. He said, I bought a spanner, and I'm not even lying, I looked at 50 websites to buy this spanner. He said, when I say I have researched you, I have researched you. And he'd already made his mind up. So it wasn't that he wasn't interested. He'd made his mind up. He didn't need that 45-minute consultation and a chit chat. And that was just his personality. So it's just about, whereas I find a personality not like Tracy, but, you know, that person that does want to go more into depth, that does want to be mollycoddled and asks a million questions. Obviously, to me, that is a very hard personality to deal with. Whereas for Tracy, that's like, they love her. They think she's fab. So, you know, it's learning how to deal with different personalities is extremely, extremely important. And
it's massively important to that, and it really, really proves to you how people are so different. You know, we have patients that come in that want to know the ins and outs and everything, and you know this, Martina, that's the way I like to work. When I'm telling a story, when I receiving a story, I want to know the ins and outs of everything. I'm like, whoa, rewind, tell me from the beginning. So when I'm working, that's the way I like to work. So I'm covering every single point. And for me, massively, that's a consent process. I'm like, yeah, I've told you everything you need to know. And the patients are very grateful. They're like, I've got no questions. You've answered everything. Fantastic. But from them D category, particularly patients, D profiled, that are like, I don't want to listen actually to what you're talking about. I know what I want. Let's move on from this. So people are just so different. And it's a massive thing to think about. Yeah.
I just want to add to that and you know, it's the first time I talk to both of you, Martina and Tracy. I can see you have beautiful chemistry. You work together synergistically in a way that, you know how to convert leads. That's true. Beautiful. So I think we went a bit over time. That's a good sign. That's always a good sign. What did you guys think of this kind of webinar? I think it was fun, right?
Yes,
this was a good way to learn. This was a good way to learn. Definitely not the last one, but I think for today we call it a night. Thank you very much, everyone who participated in that webinar. You gave us your Tuesday night. We really enjoyed you. Martina, do you have any last word to add before we end the session? Same as for everyone here. Any last word for everyone?
I mean, thank you everyone, as I say, for joining us on a Tuesday night. It's great to see all my friends on here, and just keep on doing what you're doing. And I think, you know, like what I always say is so important is to collaborate, you know, keep helping each other out, keep in touch, and because together, you know, we've all come through a difficult time together. We've got difficult times ahead, like Jane says, and we got through difficult times by doing it together. And I think that's the way that we need to carry on as a profession.
Completely agree. We can see the sign in. Well done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Tracy, anything you want to add? Dan, Lindsay, Jane, Lynn?
I'd just like to say, even if you don't really like change in your daily working environment, then sometimes it's really needed just to get you those systems and things in place that you really, really need to make things work. So be adaptable. It's fantastic having a boss that's approachable. That massively helps, of course, and work together, and eventually you'll get where you want to be.
Beautiful. And a great team, Lindsay and Dan.
Absolutely.
Great support team.
Can I just say, working with these two ladies is an absolute inspiration to watch the way they work together. There's so much fun that goes on in that practice. They know when they need to be serious and they know when they can have a laugh, and it really, really works. So respect, ladies.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, it's working.
Yeah, also from my side of things, kind of just coming in new to dental monitoring, thanks for kind of helping me as well and expanding my knowledge and kind of getting to know you guys. So it's been really, really good, and I'm looking forward to what's more to come with yourselves and kind of moving forward with DM. But Rayanne, as regards to this, I think this has been great as well. I think it's a different format from what we normally see, which kind of the normal is brilliant anyway, but different is good as well. And I think kind of this whole format is really well because it provokes conversation. And anything that provokes conversation is interesting. So that's a great thing.
Exactly. I think it generate ideas, right? When people have conversation like this. So I'm happy.
Brian, I've got a question.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm happy to take this offline if you want, but will SmileMate be updating in some way? There's a couple of things that I really would love to see. For example, being able to track the conversion on a SmileMate. So for example, if somebody clicks a Google ad, goes onto the website, goes to SmileMate, there's no returning URL, so I can't track the what we call a UTM string. So basically, I want to know, which Google ad word click made a SmileMate. And we can take this offline, but I just wondered, are you happy with the product? Are you looking to develop it, or will we see another version coming out?
Yes, definitely. What you just described right now is something that should be coming out soon. Also, they want on the plan and the near future, we will have vision integrated with the M. So the patient, when he's taking, the picture at home, he can do the simulation while he's at home, which would be a great factor to increase the conversion rate as well. But I know I've been working with dental monitoring for more than a year now, and I can tell you that, at this company, I cannot keep track of how fast they develop things and they improve and they add new features. So I can tell you that 1 month from now, SmileMate is not going to be the same as it is today, 2 months, 3 months. So for sure, it's keep going.
That's cool. Thank you.
But I'll keep in mind that I'll let you know. You'll be the first one to know when we have these things. All right. So thank you very, very, very much, everyone. I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate this, the good vibes, everything that has been going on tonight. And I hope we can do this very soon again.
Great stuff. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.